is tricking you, and it secretly is a tech demo. As a not a tech demo as such, but it's a show-offy look at what we can do and push the capabilities of this brand new sparkly system.
With Ratchet, we worked well together, but I was always worried about disappointing him.
Hi everybody, and welcome to High Scores, High Stakes Game of the Month Club for January 2026. I am your host, as always, Mr. Lova, and with me is my co-host.
Evening, Lova. It's Tomahawk here. A new calendar year, 12 new games to dissect. I'm excited. This is really good.
Yep, 13 months in a row, baby. Let's go. If people have read the title, they know what game it is. We are going to be deep dive reviewing, spoiler free, of course, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5.
I mean, spoiler at this point in the game, if you haven't played it, you never will.
Spoiler free. We don't do spoilers, not since Spider-Man 2.
Do you know what? Fun fact, it's the only High Scores, High Stakes episode all time that I've never actually listened back to for any kind of QA purposes, because I've never played Spider-Man 2.
Because you're terrified.
Because I'm also terrified.
Spoiled everything in that game. It was that recording. I went, are we doing this wrong? No, it's the listeners who are wrong. But yes, that's what we're doing tonight. We're here to deep dive review. It's the last Monday of the month, which means it's Game of the Month Club, and we're going to be looking at Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. But before we get into the deep dive review of Ratchet & Clank, let's quickly go over our housekeeping, because Tomahawk, we all know every episode is somebody's first episode. We're getting good at this, aren't we?
I like it. It's nice and synergy.
So if this is your first time watching or listening to High Scores, High Stakes, we are the internet's only competitive PlayStation podcast where myself, Tomahawk, and our other co-host, Cardinal Smith, compete in a PlayStation Gaming Challenge League table. Every week we pick a game and play a challenge in that game. The winner challenge gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. Whoever tops the league at the end of the season, which is 12 weeks, wins the coveted High Scores, High Stakes Cup. And the exciting news about competitive PlayStation gameplay in your podcast feed, it is back, baby. Next week, season 6. Lova is trying to go back to back. He's trying to become the first ever 3-time High Scores, High Stakes champion. He is looking to pip Cardinal Smith to the post, because he is also chasing his third High Scores, High Stakes title. And Tomahawk, lagging behind with one, is hoping to regain some semblance of dignity.
Just go level footing going into our even seasons. So who knows? But I'm super excited for that. But we're not here to talk about competition gameplay. We're not here to talk about any future controversies or nothing like that. We are here to discuss the very simple, the very fun, the very interesting Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
We are Tomahawk. And Ratchet & Clank is a good one. If you've never listened to a Game of the Month Club episode before, just to let you know, this is how we work it here. We talk about everything we can talk about in these games. When we say we deep dive, we go further into the Marianas Trench than a human being has ever gone before. And that includes you, James Cameron, in your face, sir. We talk about the game development. We talk about gameplay, level design, sound, graphics, controls, everything. We cover everything. So buckle yourselves in, because this one is an interdimensional journey for the ages. Let's talk Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart from Insomniac Games.
Lombax Lost, the Grand Conspiracy.
Before we get into the game though, Tomahawk, let's talk about the development of this game, because I always do lots and lots of research for this segment. I know it always shocks me how little you can find on the development of certain games. This is one of those games where it's really difficult to find like any sort of developer stories. I don't know if it is a game's journalism problem or if it's just a publisher problem where they don't want to lift the skirt up of game development.
I think it's probably something like Insomniac don't really like. I mean, I'm kind of talk about more of a recent example. Like they made a big hoopla and a song and dance when the Wolverine leaks kind of happened, and they talked about the big breach of security there. But other than that, they don't really publicize. Yeah, they don't need to. I don't think they need to communicate as much. So it's a case of it happens when it happens. It'll come out when it's ready, and we'll give updates as and when that is. It's very clinical. It's very professional. It's not like, like a CD Projekt Red where it's like, it's coming, but it's going to be terrible.
But we'll fix it. We swear. We swear we'll fix it. But yeah, so let's talk about the development of Ratchet and Clank. Okay, so Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I think, was the second Insomniac title since they became part of the PlayStation Studios family after Spider-Man, the PlayStation 4 game. So this is I think it was their second game. But anyway, they obviously, because they're part of the PlayStation Studios family, got a PlayStation 5 development kit really early on. And when they were talking about what are we going to do with this, because they wanted to do something slightly different than just Spider-Man, they said, let's revisit Ratchet and Clank, because people love Ratchet and Clank. I am one of those people. I love Ratchet and Clank.
I think it's really good.
It's a really good game series. But they thought, okay, so we haven't had a game in this franchise since 2016. So we need to make a game that is simultaneously appealing to veterans and newcomers. So they created a design brief that was like a continuation of the last Ratchet and Clank game, which was Into the Nexus, which closed with the portal gun thing they used, the Dimensionator. That's how that game ends, with that sort of being but they also wanted to simultaneously, like, quote unquote, remake the original. So this game is a sequel while also soft rebooting the entire franchise. That makes sense.
It's really good because, like, we talk about the development about this as we will, but it kind of feeds into the opening sequence of the game as well. They're like, it picks up pretty much in like the gap between the last Ratchet and Clank to this one, and they're like, oh, why are people talking about us? We haven't done anything in years.
It's so good.
Like it's like, even on like that development level, to like reflect that in the game, they're like, because people still talk about you, I guess. It's quite cool. It was quite a nice touch, and as you actually played the game as well, you can kind of see that they're not forgotten. It's not a forgotten IP.
Yeah, and it seeps from this game, but we'll get into that. We get into that. So this is one of those games that, because they had to release this game in and around the launch of the PlayStation 5, they pulled both teams. And both teams out at Insomniac made this game, and they obviously knew it was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So the design brief was reboot this for newcomers, but make it a continuation for the last game for the veterans, and let's make a game that's going to take full advantage of this brand new hardware. And to be fair to them, they really did. So the inspiration, this is one of those facts I love. This is why I love Game of the Month Club. And this is why I love researching the development story. Inspiration for the instantaneous interdimensional travel that forms the backbone of the story of this game comes from two places. The first one is the realization that Sony had put in at the time, one of the fastest SSDs available.
Okay.
So like, okay, what can we do with that? Interdimensional space travel. Let's go. But also, it was also partly inspired by It's a Wonderful Life, the Christmas movie.
Really? You have mentioned this on the group chat as you were divulging your research, but you never really elaborated. I've been waiting for you to bring this up to elaborate now.
So basically, yeah. So It's a Wonderful Life. Obviously, we all know the story of It's a Wonderful Life, but it's a lot of what ifs in that movie. What if this happened and this would be the outcome type thing? It's that. And they thought to themselves, well, what would an alternate reality version of Ratchet and Clank look like? And they come up with all these weird and wacky ideas. And that's basically where they landed. Like, can we do this? Is this technologically viable? And they started running all these tests on the portal and how fast can we make this transition from one world to the other. And from the first level in this game, you have portals opening up above you and dinosaurs and stuff falling through. It's incredibly impressive technology. But yeah, that's what they did. They asked themselves, what would another dimension in this franchise look like? And then they asked themselves a second question: what if Ratchet didn't have Clank?
True.
What if Ratchet didn't have Clank? What then? Is he still capable of being the hero we all know? That's a really interesting one, because we've never seen Ratchet without Clank. We have seen Clank without Ratchet before on the PSP with Secret Agent Clank.
Yeah,
which was a really good game. But no, that was what they said. Okay, we have a fast SSD. We like this idea of what ifs. Let's put them together.
Yeah.
And then they thought, okay, so this is a next generation title. This has to show off the PlayStation graphically, haptically, technologically, but also they wanted to push the franchise forward. So they took what they learned with the momentum of Spider-Man, and this warmed my heart to read. They said one of the biggest inspirations for the momentum and movement mechanics in this game was Sunset Overdrive.
Class.
Which is a great.
Do you know what? Yeah, as you say it, and I'm just thinking back to my playthrough of this game, and I'm like, I absolutely do see it. That like fluidity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the grinding. Because when I read that, I had flashbacks to the fixer in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and then I had another flashback to the first boss in Sunset Overdrive, which is the same sort of thing. Not as technologically impressive, but you have to grind way up a radio tower and defeat a large blimp, like a
okay.
But yeah, I was like, okay, that's good. So they wanted to move it forward, enhance the movement mechanics, and make Rift Apart feel like Ratchet and Clank, but this is the next evolution of this franchise. And with all that being said, the game developed very little friction.
Yeah, when
they just
they're partnered up with Sony, when it's like full blown first party. Here's the PS5. Here's all the ins and outs of it. Here's how it works. Make it great. And you know, Insomniac, they come off the back of Spider-Man, which still today stands as a phenomenal. Like, you know, I say today, like it's not that old, but it's moved on quick. Although like a lot of other games have moved on pretty quick from it, but it still holds up just as well.
Yeah. This is a really interesting game, so it is. But let's talk about it. Okay, so Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart released on PlayStation 5 in June 11th, 2021. Let's deep dive review this.
We're not gonna make it.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Tomahawk. Let's go with this. I think the most logical place to start with this one is talking about the gameplay of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, because there's people out there who are going, I have no idea what Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is. Ratchet and Clank, for those who don't know, who've never played a Ratchet and Clank game before, have no idea what it is basically a combination 3D third-person shooter meets 3D platformer.
Yeah.
And Rift Apart's unique mechanical conceit is traveling through portals to other universes to take down the main antagonist, who is Dr. Nefarious, the most incompetent yet somehow extremely successful villain in all of video games.
Can I say as well, like we'll talk gameplay as a whole here, but I just want to give a big shout out to, I have all the characters and their cast actor and their the voice actors as well. Armin Shimmerman, phenomenal voice actor. We talk about incompetence as a villain. He just always seems to be like, yes, I'm going to win, but the voice and even his posture in the game, he's like this slunk-shouldered kind of like shrill-sounding robot.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you take him so serious? How do you take him seriously as a villain? You can't. But he seems to find himself in these positions of power.
Yeah, he is. It's very much a Saturday morning, like late 80s, early 90s cartoon villain, where he has these weird and wacky sort of schemes of world domination, but always fails at the hands of the heroes.
But so the game kind of kicks off. We talked about it slightly earlier there. It's however many years after the events of the previous series of Ratchet and Clank, and they're throwing a parade of an anniversary. And it just basically, you relive the original, what feels like the original trilogy in a sky blimp parade.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And you've got Captain Quantum voiceover and everything as you go.
Yeah, the Captain Quark
yeah.
commentary in this part is just so funny. But of course, this sort of celebration of Ratchet and Clank's history goes awry when the celebrations get attacked. And Captain Quark, when the first dropship comes in and drops the first couple of enemies, Captain Quark, Clank is like, I don't think this is part of the celebration.
I don't remember this happening.
And Captain Quark is like, and here they are. This is definitely part of the show. But yes, it opens up and it's just incredible looking. Can we say that? It's incredible looking.
And it's chaos. It doesn't feed you anything. It doesn't feed you a great amount of exposition, which I quite like, because usually players are well versed in the series that they are playing. And again, it was really good for new players that they can kind of get a vibe for what was going on in the world, and then you are just thrown into it. There's your blaster. Go shoot some the goons for less with a number 4, by the way. And yeah, you're just told to crack on with it and save the day again, and everything goes awry. Dr. Nefarious shows up with the Dimensionator, or steals the Dimensionator. A cataclysm of some sort of happens.
Ratchet shoots the Dimensionator because he doesn't want him to have it, and it implodes and creates all these rifts everywhere. But yeah, the gameplay of this one's funny because it is very much the 3D platformer, but the platforming is very platform light. You're never going to be, it's not an Astro Bot, it's not a Super Mario game. You're never going to be given like hugely difficult platforming challenges. The platform is basically get from this area to the next area for another wave of enemies and then keep on moving between waves of enemies, basically. But what I like about this game is, and what sets this apart from other Ratchet and Clanks, is this interdimensional sort of travel sort of mechanic. It opens up a lot of stuff, and they explore quite a lot of stuff with it. But the big thing for this game is it's a simultaneous sort of narrative going on. There's 2 stories happening at the same time, and obviously they converge upon one another. So you, on one hand, you have Ratchet and Clank in the established Ratchet and Clank universe, and they're trying to defeat Dr. Nefarious is trying to steal a piece of hardware that could be fatal for the universe as they know it. But on the other hand, you have Rivet. And Rivet's world is much more, it feels much more desperate than Ratchet and Clank's. When you go between those 2 worlds, Ratchet and Clank's world is extremely colorful, but Rivet's world is extremely like muted color palette.
Do you know what Rivet's world reminds me of? Rivet's world reminds me of like Night City meets Blade Runner, that aesthetic.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
It's really bleak. It's just a bit like she's very much the resistance. I think it establishes that she is the resistance, and she seems to be heading it up, and they're trying to take down some threat in their universe, and then it gets later revealed that it's just a parallel version of
Dr. Nefarious. But an extremely successful one who's actually competent.
But has a British accent, is a completely different voice actor, has a completely different aesthetic. He has it all together. It's like, it is polar opposites.
Yes.
Especially when the character, when they sort of converge at some point and they're like, hello.
yes. And I love that. I love this. The gameplay between the 2 characters, like, identical to one another.
They don't change. Like, even whenever you go to the merchant to get all your gear, it's like, oh, I just created a shared pool for you, it's fine. And I'm like, that's genius. That's a great way to not to do inventory management for this game. It was really, really nice. But I think that the world reacts to this dual narrative really well. It's like you drop in between and cross over dimensions, and everyone's like, oh, you look familiar, or you've changed color, though. Like, the NPCs react to that in a really cool way.
Yeah, and Ratchet is super confused because Ratchet believes that he is the last Lombax in the known universe. He has no family, and this is the sort of like narrative thread through all the Ratchet and Clank games, is he is the last of his kind. So when people say, oh, you've changed color, he's confused. He has no idea what these people are talking about. And the whole like sort of driving force behind this game is, during the celebrations, Clank surprises Ratchet with a Dimensionator so he could travel through dimensions in order to find another Lombax. That's the setup for the story, and then Nefarious comes in, nabs it, and then it gets shot. And it opens up like this. The storyline for this game is. This game's really funny. I want to preface this by saying this. This game is super funny. It's really well written, and it's as you said, the voice actors do an incredible sort of job at what they're given. It's brilliantly written, brilliantly performed, but it's also like really deep. Like this, it's a really deep narrative for what looks like a kid's game.
Oh, yeah, it's very, it's that whole theme, like the themes of the game, like, loss and all that kind of stuff are just kind of peppered in over sort of a lot of exposition. And I think that is for the slightly more, that's definitely for people who have played the original trilogy, who are coming back to this and stuff. But yeah, for a kid's game, I think some of the themes and emotions can kind of run a bit heavy.
They are really heavy. I mean, we're talking a game here with cartoon cats, effectively, and robots taking on a space alien cyborg villain. Type, and the themes in this game are loss, loneliness, and then there's like a character with PTSD and all this here business. And near the start of the game, Clank gets broken. Like he loses the power in his arms and legs. Yeah. And, and he goes through the story and sort of comes to the conclusion that it doesn't matter if you're,
even Kit as well. Like she goes into her character, she goes into isolation because she knows that she's trouble. She's broken. And she says that the whole thing is like she's broken, and what's best for a broken thing is to put themselves away and not be exposed to the world. I'm like,
it's so deep, but it's Pixar deep. Let's be honest. It's Pixar deep.
It's mild threat.
Mild threat and adult themes. And the kids would glance over kids' head. The themes in this game are definitely for the adults in the room. But we'll get back to the gameplay. 3D shooter platformer. That is. If you've ever played a Ratchet and Clank game, you know exactly what you're going to get here. Plus added extras. Let's talk about the gameplay and the controls for this game. I like the controls in this game. This isn't like your normal platformer because it's so heavily, the gameplay balance is weighted so heavily with combat. Ratchet and Rivet feel really heavy for a platform character. There's a real, everything feels very deliberate in their movement. They don't jump very high. They come back down to earth fairly quickly, but they can scoot around really quickly horizontally rather than vertically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're very quick on their feet, but if it comes to have to like dodge by jumps and backflips and double jumps, they're not really made for that. I played the entire thing on the Portal. Game was absolutely made. It felt great as a handheld experience. But yeah, there are certain, the hammer, like Rivet's hammer strikes and Ratchet's wrench attacks, very sluggish to the point where I ditched that very quick. Outside of like Act 1, I don't think I used it. Unless I really was in a bit of a bind.
Powerful,
it is. It's very slow.
it is very slow. The throw on it is out of stuff very in a useful.
Pinch. I forgot about. To be fair, I forgot about the throwing mechanic on it until like Act 3 when you're going between the quartz mine.
Yes.
Section. I forgot that the throwing even existed. So there is a lot. There is a lot going on aside from you've got your jump and attack, your normal attack, your phase dodge.
And you have your there's a parry in here as well. If you time your hammer strike at the same time as a physical attack from an enemy, you can parry them and just it opens up a wee slow motion window. But yeah, you don't really need it. I never used it. I actually forgot it existed.
Players in the room.
Forgot it existed, to be quite honest. But yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, I make it sound like I don't like the way it controls. I think it controls
exactly how you would expect it to as well.
Exactly how I expect a Ratchet and Clank game to control. And the one thing about it, and I think I've said this about Astrobot and every platformer we've ever reviewed, the most important thing about a platformer is that you know the limits of the character you're controlling. So consistency is so key. And this one has consistency down to the pixel. You know exactly what your character can do. You can look at a jump and go, I can't make that without hovering, or I can't make that without Clank, or I can't make that without using my magnetic boots. I can't make that jump unless I do X, Y, and Z. And it is so, as I said, you're never going to have like a big mega platform challenge in this game, but it's, at some points in this, the checkpoint system's kind of weird. Some points in this, a fall off a jump could take you back, not like mega far, but enough to be an annoyance.
The start of like a full wave of enemies rather than halfway, or however games would normally do it. But yeah, we talked about it in Astrobot slightly about how when you fall, it's not the game's fault. It's definitely the platforming element in this is very much well, if you fell, so it's clearly your fault. If you're like, if you do a bunch of wall runs and then you have those hookshot moments, and then the swing, you have to time the momentum to be in full front swing to actually land the jump. If you do it halfway, you're just going to drop.
Yeah, the swing shot. I love the swing shot. It's so satisfying because you can get some crazy distance. I think it feels like Spider-Man. The swing shot at points. There's points where you're running long walls, jumping off, swing shotting to land on a wall on the opposite side, and then jumping back onto terra firma, and it feels like Spider-Man, and it looks incredible. But yeah, the last thing really about gameplay of this one is boss fights. Boss fights are numerous, but you're fighting the same enemy over and over again.
There is an awful lot. Like, it's a giant robot of some description, or with just a different name. Mm-hmm. And then as you get further along, they get bigger, or just different iterations
of more of them.
Or more of them. I think when you get to the pirate planet, you fight two of them, and they're brothers.
Yes, but that part gets a pass for me because it is so funny.
Oh, like the world around it is incredible. Like, Pierre is just a great character, but again, just an incompetent villain.
I mean, they're all incompetent. Everyone in this
game levels of incompetent.
The only two people who have any semblance of competence in this game is Rivet and
Emperor Nefarious. Yeah, they're the only two characters who actually like have any kind of stake. Yes. Or even Ratchet goes about this entire game going, huh?
I know. And he's the veteran. He's the more grizzled veteran. He's been through so much. He's been through
Clank, because Clank only really he's like the sage shoulder angel in this game.
He always was.
And if you have him equipped, he is your little jetpack. Not your jetpack, your little propeller. Yeah. I do like that, and I forget whenever you don't have him. You miss that.
You do. You miss that. I know later on in the game it sort of replaces him with the hover boots. You get like
the same.
It's not the same. It doesn't feel like you go as far, that you go exactly the same distance. It just doesn't look like you can go as far because of the animation of it. But yeah, no, the gameplay here is really, really, really strong.
It's rock solid.
It's a game, and they've nailed the gameplay of this. It's just rock solid, and it's exactly what I expect from a Ratchet and Clank game, only brought up to the next level. The one thing I do want to mention when it comes to gameplay is loading. Yeah, there's none. there's none.
There's like a quick rewind, maybe when you die, and it takes you back to the last checkpoint. Oh, but even then, it doesn't really. It just opens a rift and dumps you out.
It instantly, once you get past the splash screens of all the sort of technology sort of things they're using, the plugins and stuff, once you hit start game, that's you. There's no loading in this game. Ever.
It's just like a camera rollback, and the animation drops you back in, and like one way or the other. Yeah,
it's incredible. And what I like about it is because it's non-existent, it keeps everything in the game moving, and it sort of like brings the feeling in you that there's urgency here.
Especially when you're dying in, like, because the majority of the game is enemy rushes. And gun battles. So with it not having to kill you, restart the level and go back to a checkpoint, it does happen sometimes, but there's been a lot of occasions where Rivet particularly just gets another version of Rivet, evidently. It feels like just gets thrown into the battle that way, and you just kind of have a Returnal kind of sense of things.
Yeah. It's such a good game. The gameplay in this game is incredible. If I was scoring games based purely on gameplay, this one would be high up our tier list. It's not the only thing we use because this is a game. There's plenty of other stuff we need to talk about here. What do you think of the level design of this game?
Solid, and everything is in a nice loop. So whenever the level ends, you're not having to backtrack 99% of the way, even like as much as the mini dimensional pockets. When you go looking for new armor or like the gold bolts and stuff like that, it is just a little, effectively, that the spiral design is how I like to see these levels. And when you get to the top, it like connects you back to the entrance or the exit at the shortest possible route, and it's they're lovely designs, and there's never a massive path of deviancy, like especially with these kind of games are very much play the golden path and stuff will open up to you as you naturally play. There's obviously big forks in roads where it goes, oh, if you go this way you can have a mini boss, but you'll get a good payout from it, or the main way the narrative will always try and steer onto the golden path, at least anyway. But the level design is rock solid. The level design is pretty well contained. The external and factors and external animations and stuff like that do create this bigger sense of the world. It nearly give you that illusion that it's like a semi-open world game.
Yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. I agree with you. When you're in like the levels themselves, I think the design's incredible. I like what you've hit the nail on the head there with saying the levels look back upon themselves and you end up pretty much where you started every single time, and you just move on to the next world then. However, one thing I will say about this game is those like hubby levels, the hub levels, it's really, maybe it was just me, but the one with the bar in the city, I remember.
Yes, it's like the arena where you can also do like the arena mini games.
Yes. Yeah. I remember when I played this game for the first time, I struggled to know where the game wanted me to go.
You remember this? You kind of just went in a circle, and the waypoints are
weird.
Typical games for a waypoint, it's a directional button, up, down, left, or right, or whatever. This one's R3, and I forget that doesn't sometimes advertise that R3 is the waypoint, so sometimes I'm pressing it by accident if I'm trying to do quick turns or quick maneuvers or anything like that. So yes, especially when the future tech asteroid planets all kind of look the same.
They do, and that was another thing I wanted to bring up here. I have played through this game. I played through it once live on Twitch. Had an incredible time, don't get me wrong, but I sort of restarted this in preparation for this. I also started on the portal just for handiness, but you know when you finish with a hub level, you jump into your ship and you go to the next sort of world in order to progress the story. Even sometimes knowing where I'm meant to be going.
Oh, because the markers do a brilliant thing of keeping the previous planets open for you to do optional missions.
Yes.
And which are just lore entry. It's just like little exposition nuggets, whereas
it's usually like golden bolts and stuff like that. Yeah. And the golden bolt system's great because when you pick up a golden bolt, it has like a defined reward for it, and it's usually like paint for your armor, whatever it is. But I've played through this game about one and a half times, and I could not tell you the name of any of those planets.
Sargasso, I remember that much.
Sargasso is
the home planet.
The reason I remember that was because I lost my mind trying to figure out what the game wanted me to go. I was on that like speeder thing for ages, going, where am I going? Where am I going? That's the only reason I know it. But if you give me a planet name and ask me what that planet looked like, I couldn't tell you. The graphical style here is really defined and it's incredible. But as you say, all the planets kind of look like they're the same planet. It's slightly different.
Yeah, when you get to like Act 3, like Pierre's planet looks like a pirate world.
It's so awesome as
and
well.
It's so like it's the most defining. I think Ratchet's world in the start is a Terra something.
I have no idea.
Call it. Yeah, that's the one that I've got all the voice actors loaded up. I don't have any of the planets loaded up here now. But Ratchet's
the names
planet,
are meaningless.
They're meaningless really at this point. But Ratchet's planet is really well defined and looks great. But they're forgettable names.
Yeah,
but I know exactly if I have to describe what character they're referencing or what character they're associated with. I could do that all day long.
Yeah. The best way I could describe my issues with the planets looking sort of similar is there's moments in this game and there's points in this game where, and when you said about the pirate planet to me felt like a theme park, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a small world. That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, but it sounds like I hate the level design in this game. I really don't. I think levels are designed incredibly well. I just don't like it felt kind of wedged in between. It didn't like the in between
don't
like
need to be
little
named at all.
hub planet things. I would have quite happily just went. If the game went, okay, now we've got to go to this planet, and then at the end of the game, if it wanted me to revisit them, just to open the list of planets in front of me, and I can just go back and forth.
It nearly would have been easier because they talk more about like the places. Like I actually have the planets and the names here. So we've got Coruscant 5 is Nefarious City. That's Rivet's main planet. Sargasso is where her hideout is. You've got Scars 2 Debris Field, which is Xerxes. It's like nowhere in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yes.
But they don't reference the planet names ever. You would just be better off naming them as cities on one planet. That nearly would make more sense. Because I'm looking at some of these, and some of them are just named Blazon Mines. Pirate. One's just called Pirate. Yeah, it's just called Pirate Base.
Yeah. And this is the problem with it is the level design for me. I love the actual like platform and shooting levels. I just don't like those little hub parts in between, and I don't think the game doesn't do a great job of sort of signposting where you're meant to be going next. And I did find myself revisiting planets going, what if I missed something? Where am I going? And you have that little modern game trope of you're meant to, maybe we should try, and then say a city but not the planet name.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not helping me.
There was a few times where I did end up going back to a planet, just because I was trying to follow the golden path. Because usually it goes Ratchet Rivet. That's how the plot beats work, and it's really, really nice and easy. And then I accidentally clicked on Nefarious City, and then I think the game nearly does this and points you in the right direction subtly with like character dialogue, because I landed back in and Ratchet goes, I wonder if Nefarious is going to realize that I've just come back to the city, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here.
That's my only big issue with the design of it. Everything else I think is incredible. I love the combat. I love the level design. The level designs are great for gameplay
but
purposes.
There's so much mixed, and so everything is mixed but purposeful. Like level designs, I think the biggest shout out has to be for the Fixer. Fixer plan, like, because you go and do like one or two little loops. It's the biggest. I think it's the biggest map on the game by a country mile.
I'm not sure. I think it feels bigger than what it probably is.
Probably in terms of what it packs into that area.
Yes.
Then, because there's at least 3 little biomes. Because you've got to power up. You've got to fix the machine, power up the machine, and then you've got to turn the machine on. So there's 3 separate like level loops there, and then you've got the sort of outer level, which is just your Sunset Overdrive, grinding, skateboarding, QTE effect of it. What felt like an actual playing felt like a QTE, because you're just dodging and ducking until you get to a point with the Fixer where you can actually have a face-to-face with them.
It feels like it's at the sort of level that would have been a cutscene on PlayStation 4. Yeah, you would have watched that happening, whereas here you're playing it. I remember my first experience with the Fixer level and the grind sequence in particular. So Fixer is a strange character. He's a new character for this game because I don't recall him ever being in any other Ratchet and Clank games. But he when I said about there's a character with PTSD, it's him. It's him. He clearly is suffering from PTSD. So his job in the universe is basically to keep it going, to fix things that are broken and keep this whole basically universe chugging along, and it's clearly took a toll on him, because when you go there, you're asking him for help and he wakes up and starts basically attacking you, and you have to try to make him see sense.
Oh, that's right, because his prime directive is basically like the whole world's broken, therefore the whole world. He's gone like a full Ultron arc here. He's like, oh, the whole world's broken, therefore the whole world shouldn't exist. There's nothing to fix then.
You have to make him see, like, you have to bring him back to reality and see sense. And I think it's Clank that does it, you know?
Because Clank has the entire game, plays the entire game with one arm, and he's like, well, look, I'm broken and I found a new way to be fixed. And he's like, oh, just because, and then he has that moment, it's like, oh, just because you don't see it being fixed doesn't mean it's not fixed on some level. Okay, I'm fixed.
yeah, it's such an incredible sequence. If you haven't played this game, I would urge you to play this game just to experience just for this part. It is incredible. It's the most, I think I said it on Twitch after I played it, it is one of the most exciting, fun things I have done in a video game for an extremely long time. It is just an incredible sequence. It looks incredible, and the frame rate of this game is just so smooth, and the graphic, the fidelity. Let's talk about the graphics.
They did they properly, because this one was this was a big flagship game for the PS5 Pro, wasn't it?
So they basically, it's one of the ones they used,
It's one of the ones that they went, look at this, look at the 120 frames per second ray tracing, and look at all this.
And over here.
But it was like, they used the parade crowd.
The opening sequence,
Yeah, as their point of reference, and fair enough, like, this looks good on base PS5. And it does, like, if you take frame for frame, put it like the PS5 Pro with this game on it, there's so much detail that they've packed into just, they're not even NPCs, they're just little set sprites.
There's set dressing, and
even on base PS5, that looks incredible.
Like, I remember when Ratchet and Clank 1 came out in the PlayStation 2, the reviews were all like, this looks like a Pixar movie. And looking back at it, it's easy to laugh that off. But I remember playing
how far we've come from it. That's the thing.
I remember playing it and thinking exactly the same thing. This game looks like looks Pixar level good.
This one definitely, because like, this isn't just a case of, oh, you can watch the, like, they just are on these normal levels and everything is like, you can get a nice crisp dry, because the example that it's when they're on the pirate, it's always going to be the pirate island. It's going to be the perfect level for it, because it has like the most diverse weather in the entire game.
Does, yeah.
So like, it's dry, and then there's a storm, and then you're on a ship in the ocean, and there's the waves spraying. So when you're actually watching cutscenes, you're watching like Ratchet has that glisten and that sheen from the rain on him, and nearly every hair fiber and water molecule has this like superb level of detail. And that's not just in like cutscenes, because cutscenes are in engine as well.
They're totally in engine.
Even like pause that photo mode, zoom right in, that level of detail is throughout.
It is staggering how good this game looks.
As you say, it's like new way. It actually looks on par with how I remember, and it's oddly specific, the Lightyear spin-off with Chris Evans.
Okay, I was going to say
give me that, but maybe it's just because of the space travel, but like that kind of pseudo-realist look.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's a little bit separated from that.
I was going to say Monsters University. I think it's on par with Monsters University.
Yeah.
You know, it just looks incredible. It just everything in this game looks incredible. Like I think one thing that makes the level design so good is just there's so much going on. You can pause this game at any moment in time or open photo mode, and you can scan the camera around, and there's just things happening everywhere. There's just nothing simple here. When you smash a box, they shatter into
particles
pieces,
of the boxes.
You can photo mode it, and you can see individual bits of that box flying everywhere. There's sparks flying. The little bolts that you pick up, that they're ray traced. Like the bolts, the collectibles are ray traced. Are you kidding me? Everything's ray traced. You know, there's bits in this game where Rivet and Ratchet are with their visor down on their armor helmets, and the whole thing is just ray tracing left, right, and center. It is just, it's an incredible looking game, and it's one of those games because of the art style, because it's so cartoony. It's not going to age.
No, absolutely. What's this game now? Coming 5 years old now. Even like Rivet's arm, like Rivet's the robot arm. It's so detailed. It's not just like a perfect shiny arm. It's got damage. It's got scrapes. It's got scratches. It's got wear on it. It is like the level, like. It's kind of got The Last of Us Part 2 for like levels of detail in like a realistic, like a photorealistic setting is pretty much the best way I could describe it at time of release. This is like on par with it for its own, like for that own kind of sci-fi genre.
I think it surpasses The Last of Us for level of detail. And I'll tell you why. There is one gun, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the Ripper or something like that. But all guns do it really, but that's the one that sticks out in my head. I can't remember what it's the one that fires the little bomb things. But it has like on the side of the gun, it has like spinners that slingshot the projectile. They spin all the time. There's like all the weapons have little incidental details, and you can see the weapons working as Ratchet is holding them. There's absolutely no need for it, but they put this in here, and I think for our screenshot challenge for season 3 or 4, yeah. I think one of my screenshots was from Ratchet and Clank, and it was Clank's fur in his ear. But I remember taking that photo and zooming right in, obviously, to get the fur and the part of his cap with the stitching and stuff. I wanted to try to get as much detail in this thing as possible. But I was rotating the camera to get the angle right. I noticed that Clank ray traced the back of Ratchet's head on his chassis. And you're never noticing this in gameplay. They've put this in here just for, I can only imagine it's showing off, but it looks incredible, and it just makes the whole world feel alive. Like that opening level with the celebrations, there's balloons everywhere, there's fireworks going off, there's the huge crowd, when you walk out, there's all those people clapping for you. It's just an incredible, I cannot tell you how good this game looks. It is one of the best looking games I have ever seen, and it is no less impressive in 2026 than what it was in 2021. It's just amazing.
Even when you get to like end game and you're fighting the mecha Nefarious, and he's got the big portals and stuff, and even as all of like the dimensions are starting to kind of clash and converge, and as you're fighting and you're looking like miles and miles and miles in the background that you're never a part of the level that you're never going to see or never going to interact with, and you're watching like these fully figured characters, avatars falling through these universe. Everything's just happening. It's foreground, background, everything in between. Even they do a brilliant thing about this when you're fighting then the big mecha Nefarious. If you try and crane your camera or yourself around when the portals have his face coming through, the mecha always finds a way to shimmy his own body behind the portal so you can never actually see.
It's
genius.
And
they've absolutely thought of everything to try and like so you can't spam your way through it. They just have went, nope, okay, well that character's going to move in coordination with the camera as well. So they've absolutely thought of everything in this in terms of level design, characters, like all the works.
Even when you're talking about the rifts when they appear, if you don't run through it immediately, you can stop and look through it and see where you're going. You can see
the world,
where you're
like,
going. It's right there.
Continuing on in front, like it's a complete like parallel to obviously what's going on, but that world is, for all intents and purposes, alive and moving without you in the frame.
It's an incredible technological.
Oh, they took this genre and they ran with it and they smashed it out of the park. Absolutely. Yeah, I expect no less, to be fair.
I would expect no less from a Sony first party, to be honest. They just seem to be in competition with one another to outdo each other technologically, and it's just incredible to play these games because you don't... I know the general consensus in 2025, 2026 is exclusives are bad. You don't get this sort of game. You don't get this sort of level of technological sort of pushing of the envelope without exclusives.
Yeah. I think for a franchise that is held in such high regard as well, I think it's a service to be done to it.
Oh yeah,
for new players particularly as well.
Well,
I think for the old players are going to love and appreciate this anyway, but I think for the new players are just going to be blown away by this, and it's going to be effectively a new IP for them.
Also, all the guys are just going to go, didn't look like us when I was your age.
Back in my day.
Did not look like this. But since we're talking about the technological side of the game, the haptics, what do you think of the haptics? I know you said you played it on the Portal, but it has all the haptics in it.
It has all the haptics anyway. Every gun feels unique. Every bit of damage feels unique. I also like how the vibration it's not just like not just the trigger haptics or how like damage is taken. It's like certain guns have like a sound, but the sound's achieved through the vibration.
Yeah, and the speaker.
It's that one where it's that boop. That's my favorite one. It's just awesome.
It does the whole time. It does the same thing as Astrobot does. It uses like vibration and sound. Your brain fills gaps left, right, center. But the use of the speaker is just in the controller is incredible. You can hear the footprints on different materials. You know the different guns all have like different levels of trigger tension and things like that. And there's one gun, I can't remember what the one that unleashes the little tiny robots.
Oh, yes, I can't remember its name.
That one's haptics are really interesting because you're firing robots and these wee things. You can have loads of them. It's my favorite gun in the game. But, once you fire out the robots, the trigger tension completely goes away and it just springs back at your finger. And it just feels totally unique. Because I remember going, I remember saying that a couple of times. That feels incredible. Just they've taken, as I said at the start, they set out to create like take full advantage of the PlayStation 5. They did that with spades. This is still one of the best looking games on the console. It just looks incredible. We could talk all day about the graphics. We really could. Like, there's just so much to see here. The scale of it is incredible. Like, the scale of the fixers, incredible. The scale of the mecha Nefarious at the end is incredible. There is one thing I want to talk about, though, which I also thought was incredible. It's nothing to do with graphics, but it's about pushing that technological envelope a little bit. It is the level in the mines when you're Ratchet and Rivet are in the mines in their universes.
Ratchet and Kit. Yeah.
And you will get so far with Ratchet, and then there's something blocking his way, and then you have to switch to Rivet in order to progress Ratchet. It's near the very end of the game where you have to flip, and then they convert. It's just before you come to meet the Nefariouses as a final boss. But there's one level where there's all these doors and all these enemies, and you have to jump between the two dimensions.
Oh, it's the prison. It's like the prison riot, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and you have to flick between the two of them because they can only do certain things, and because their universes are slightly different. It's just incredible. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it is quite good as well. Even like that one where you're trying to get the dimension, when you're actually trying to forge the Dimensionator.
Yes.
And you go to the Nefarious base, and then you walk in, and it's like, because I want to talk about just the NPCs and the character interactions and like the voice acting, particularly. The
voice acting is incredible.
Where they walk in, and then they're like, "What are you doing here? You're a lamp. Why is a lamp back?" And then Kit just goes, "I am an interior decorator."
There's so many great lines. Like, one of my favorite characters in this game is, and he's not in it very much, but is Skid McMarks.
Oh, yeah. Phantom. I'm Phantom, dude.
But I was saying to you before record, I hated that guy in the original like Ratchet and Clank because he was like time trials on like a hover skateboard, and they were so brutally hard that I associated him with these terribly hard levels. But in this game, his interactions and his like interdimensional sort of alternative version are just so good. He's just like this 1990s surfer. I don't care.
He's like the stoner vibe. He's like how I would imagine like the Point Break crew are just all the time. Everything's bodacious, and he's just happy-go-lucky. And even as the Phantom in the Resistance, he's like, "Sayonara, furry dude."
All the interactions are good. Like all the characters are great.
The nefarious ones, even the goons for less, all the alligator characters that show up, they always have these like great wee snippets of dialogue. Even when they're like the bone goons, they're like, "Oh, I'm dead."
The one character really stood out for me in this game was Kit.
Kit's great.
Her story.
But her arc is great. Her arc is
so good,
but
man.
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Really. And then one other character, NPC voice acting I want to shout out to is Nefarious' assistant, who's never really in it in person, is only ever in it on TV screens and like PA announcements and stuff. And it's like, particularly it's in the prison where you're Rivet and you have to break everyone out of the prison, out of their cells, and then it's a big chase to get to Ratchet and Kit's cell because it's being transported elsewhere. But as you're depleting the hordes, like the PA system is like, backup integrity is at 35%. We have no more troops. And she's like, what do you mean? And then you shoot the screen or something like that. And she's like, you can't fire me. I quit.
It's just like
they're brilliant. Like the actual like voice acting in this, the characters are so memorable. I can't remember their names, most of them, because most of them don't have names. Most of them are just Actually, is just Nefarious' assistant.
Yeah. I
think they had it like Jennifer Hale as Rivet as well. I kind of forgot that Jennifer Hale was even like, she's the queen when it comes to voice acting. Like she is proper royalty and she does a great job with Rivet. And Rivet just takes no nonsense the whole time. Like she, as we talked earlier, she's like the only other serious character in the game.
Yeah, she is the serious character in the game. Her stakes are the highest for everyone, almost, because she is trying to save her world that has been decimated, whereas Ratchet is trying to prevent that happening.
Ratchet's reaction rate the entire game, whereas Rivet is just like, I've been in the trenches.
Yeah, you haven't seen what I've seen, buddy.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, no, I love it. The music is also very good in Ratchet, in this. The music's great, but I have a complaint about the music, and this is a complaint I have with every Insomniac game, is the music gets hidden. I don't know how they mix the music, but the music's really low, but the sound effects almost drown it out at times. So there's this great music being, in the battle, for example, but you can't really hear it because it's being drowned out by all the explosions and gunshots. And stuff.
Yeah. This is very much sensory overload over a great score, which I have no doubt it is a great score.
It is a great score.
It wouldn't have made it into the game otherwise. But no, funny you mentioned this because I probably would have just went, the music's nice. It's not memorable purely because of the in-world effects that kind of just blow it all out of proportion. And even when you play it on the Portal, the haptics are so strong and so loud.
Yes, they're loud.
I don't think it's as bad playing console, but everything is so ramped up to 11 that the soundtrack just gets lost.
Yeah, I think the Portal sound is because it's closer to your face than the controller. The controller is typically on your lap or in and around there, whereas this, because the screen it's a controller in
like
screen,
a few inches from your face.
Your face, so you're just, I think, more aware of it. But yeah, I noticed that about it. I was like, that's really, because I was playing Skate and I was like, that's really loud. But yeah, no. So that is graphic, sound, gameplay, design. What have we forgotten about here, Tom? Oh, shall we? I touched on the themes of this here and the story of this game without spoiling it. I really loved the story of this, and the story itself is bog standard: good guy, bad guy, wants to end the world, good guy stops him, fair. Yeah. But it's the little mini arcs of all the characters. I mean, every character except for Ratchet, which is, I will say that every character in this game except Ratchet has like a really satisfying sort of arc. Ratchet's, and I get why, because Ratchet's arc is, he doesn't want to be alone, as in he doesn't want to be the only Lombax in the universe, but he's frightened of what if I'm
meeting
not
them
alone?
Yeah, what if he doesn't meet the expectation of everybody? Yeah, like he doesn't really, he talks like he ducks in and out of that wanting to do it the whole time. Like that's the whole point of the Dimensionator being. But then he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. Oh no! And I think towards the end he kind of decides that yes, he will, which kind of maybe feeds into, are we going to get a new Ratchet and Clank? Are we going to get more down the line or something like that? Maybe is Ratchet going to just be a secondary character to Rivet now? Is Rivet the way forward?
I doubt it. I don't know. I think
does Rivet get a spin-off? Yeah, like I mean, everyone gets a good arc. Everyone gets a good solid arc. I would argue that even Nefarious gets a good arc.
Nefarious always gets a good arc in these games. Like genuinely, he's always a shining star of all these games because he's just so over the top, campy, pantomime.
He's a lovable rascal, look.
And the voice acting for him just sell like the whole. This is a silly game, but it just sells itself. And it excels pretty much at everything it's attempting to do. I have a few like complaints here and there, but in general, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is a really, really great game. Like a truly great game. I have started playing the challenge mode. So challenge mode is effectively New Game Plus. I don't know if you've tried.
I got the option to. I think once it was finished, I was like, right, Golden Path is done. I will dip into challenge mode at a later date once I've detoxed.
So challenge mode is New Game Plus. You have all your weapons and stuff that you finish the game with, but you get new upgrades, and they're called Omega grades. And the Omega grade weapons are incredibly good fun to use. But one thing I will say about this game is I don't like the skill tree, like upgrade system that they've got for the weapons.
Yes, because I think this is the major gripe I have for this, so we'll tackle this point together, I think.
Yeah, so my problem with it is twofold. Number one, it costs too many bolts.
Raritanium.
Fully upgrade your gun.
Yeah.
Because there's so many little icons you have to color in effectively. And the upgrades are nominal. They're nominal. There's nothing you can do with that gun until it's fully upgraded, and then it just feels massive.
The trade-off isn't particularly good, I think, because like if I remember the skill trees on them, it's increase how much ammo you can find, increase your max capacity, and then maybe damage will just be, I think it's when you complete the little circles the little gold icons will increase the damage rate.
Yep.
The problem that you have with that is that the enemies, as you progress in the game and as your guns level up, their armor levels, I played this on the not the base difficulty, I played it on the hard difficulty, so the one before
Commando, whatever, I think it is.
Commando, whatever it was. The enemy skill ceiling is very high.
It is,
even in hard. Like the enemies do take pack a punch, but they also level up consistently with your leveling up of your weapons. So no matter what you do, I had my Shatter Blast.
The pistol,
the shotgun.
Oh, the shotgun. Yeah.
I had the shotgun fully leveled up, full max level, whatever, and I still was taking like a full clip.
Yeah, it kill
two enemies. So I was just like, what's the point me leveling these up? To the point then where I was I nearly was buying guns by accident, just so I had a vast array of weapons, to the point that I'm like, I now have too many weapons and I only use 4 of them. So I've hotkeyed 4 for mine. I hotkeyed the sniper rifle, the burst pistol, the shotgun, and the shatter bomb projectiles.
Okay,
that's the only 4 I used the entire game as and when they came available.
My loadout was the pistol, the shotgun, the little robot gun, and the the one that fires the beam? It's like a laser gun.
Oh, the Negatron Collider.
That's the one. That was my 4. But thank you for saying that, because this game has, and I know it's a feature of Ratchet and Clank, and it has been from the beginning, a lot of guns that are really imaginative and fun to use. But I don't think you can have a lot of guns that are really imaginative and really fun to use and have this upgrade system, because you can't upgrade them all. you won't upgrade them all. You will pick your 4 favorite guns and you will use them. So I think what Insomniac should have done with the weapons here is either have these skill tree upgrades for the guns or have a lot of guns, but they shouldn't have done both.
Yeah, because like the guns level up as you use them.
Yes,
which then opens up the skill tree even further.
Yes, and there's loads in them. Loads.
The problem is every time you meet a Mrs. Zircon, there's a new weapon.
Yes,
at every checkpoint, there's a new gun to unlock.
Yep.
So I think there's something about. I think there's 16 guns, weapons in this game, and they're divided pretty evenly of like long range blasters, throwables, and then just short range weapons. The problem is the huge problem is they're gimmicks. A lot of them are just gimmicks. I bought Mr. Fungi because I think it forces you to. I think it makes you buy it as like the first weapon, like available outside of like the shotgun or something. I used it once, didn't pay attention to the demo, what it's supposed to do, and then just went, I'm never using this again. But because it's there, it stays on your first rotary wheel of your weapons, and it's if you don't have it on a hotkey, you're having to then manually find the gun that you have, and then you accidentally click into this weapon, and then the next thing you know, you have a giant mushroom following you around. I'm like, this isn't what I asked for.
But it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. That has always been a staple of the Ratchet and Clank series, of just like these crazy guns. You have like your normal guns, and then you have crazy guns. And I love the crazy gun sort of what's the word I'm looking for, conceit that they always do. And the guns here are really good. Like the guns are fun, and they are all really fun to use, and they all have like their unique perks, and they're really, every gun in the game has a use for a certain situation. If you're being overloaded with enemies like the dogs that are quite annoying, Mr. Fungi is really good because it gives them a target.
Oh, he draws attention away, doesn't he?
Yeah. But no, that's my big complaint about Ratchet and Clank is it's a weird thing to complain about, that a game has too much, but this game has too much. And then in challenge mode, it throws the Omega level upgrades at you, and they're all incredibly fun to use. But it's more guns to upgrade. And it's like, please stop. But it's a weird complaint to have.
There fast became a point where I was upgrading 4 different weapons, and I maybe would have deviated to, like, I used on occasion the topiary sprinkler, which I thought was a great support weapon. It got you out of a bind with some bigger enemies because you could just turn them into a plant or a hedge. The buzz blades, I had a great time with that because they could just clear out. The ricochet weapon as well is really good if you have one that needs to be distracted. And of course, then you've got the lightning rod, which does do
tons of damage,
but it does,
and you can chain it if you upgrade it.
Chained upgrades as well. So I think during the prison riot section, I must have had about 20 of those mace robot enemies all chained together, taking electric damage. So then I would just, while they're all dancing, just take your shotgun to it and clear the room up pretty quickly.
The buzz blades and the lightning gun are really useful for the arena as well.
Yeah, even I think the sniper rifle, the headhunter, I think I used a good portion, but that really only becomes available at end game.
The Omega version of that auto aims and can kill 2 heads with 1 shot and stuff like that. It's really cool. The challenge mode is really good fun. It's just the story mode again, a wee bit more difficult, but with like scores for every level and stuff like that. It's really good.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. But yeah, that really brings us to the end of Ratchet and Clank. A really great game with a few like low-level foibles.
Yeah.
There's nothing fundamentally wrong with this game at all. In fact, it's a great game.
So if a child's playing that game, they're going to use all the silly weapons. Whereas 100%. We are very serious gaming journalists today.
We are gaming journalists, podcasting for your listening pleasure. And we don't have time for that nonsense. So many games to review.
It's like, see this? 0 days without nonsense.
But let's put it on the patented high scores, high stakes tier list. I just for the refresh the memories of old listeners or new listeners, it goes from S tier to D tier. S tier is an amazing
masterpiece.
game. A masterpiece, yeah. A tier is a great game. B tier is a good game. C tier is mid. And D tier is this is a bad game. Or below average. So where are we putting it here, Tomahawk? I will go first. I really love this game. Is it a masterpiece? I don't believe so. I think this is a genuinely great game, and it is probably the second best in the Ratchet and Clank series for me, after Ratchet and Clank, the original.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this on a tier because the wee foibles are wee foibles, but they annoy me enough to say that if they weren't there, would the game be better? And I think the game would be better. So
I think I'm pretty much uniform on that thought process. Take away the weapon skill trees, just scale them up as per you use them. It's an A tier, 100%. I think as we talk about this, I think the game, I've realized, is tricking you, and it secretly is a tech demo. As a not a tech demo as such, but it's a show offy look at what we can do and push the capabilities of when new brand new sparkly system.
But that's every launch window game.
It is, but when you peel it back and like outside of the enjoyment of the game, and you're like, no, you're tricking me with tech, you're tricking me with fancy tricks and smokes and mirrors here, and it's working. It is absolutely working.
No, it's a great game.
It is. It's awesome. It is an awesome game. It's a great story. It's a great return to the franchise, and it's a great starting point for new players. I think Insomniac hit every nail on the head, as they should have, with this game. It is great, and it's an A tier, hands down.
And it's perfect for the Portal if you have one.
Give it a go. Definitely. This is going to be one of those mini. Will you Portal it? I will Portal it.
Yes,
100% do. If you're going to play on the Portal. That's great.
Yeah, but the time has come, Tomahawk, for us to open that interdimensional rift and go from the deep dive review to the wrap-up section. And that is it, Tomahawk. Another Game of the Month all wrapped up. We are done for January. But the calendar pages keep on turning, and so do the game reviews. So let's just, I'm just looking at the time we've been recording here. Let's just wrap this up nice and simple. We will announce what February's Game of the Month is on our social medias whenever we come to a unified decision on what February's Game of the Month is.
Oh, no. This one we do know, because February's Game of the Month ties in with our 150th episode of High Scores, High Stakes. And where better to take it?
Oh, that's right, yes.
And where better to take it than back to the origin, the nexus point of High Scores, High Stakes. We're playing Crash Bandicoot.
Let's go. We are deep dive reviewing Crash Bandicoot. I forgot we had this conversation. We'll be talking about a lot recently. Season 6 is coming.
Busy bees this last while. But yes, February's Game of the Month will be episode 150.
Crazy.
So, I think it's just as perfect a time as any to celebrate Crash, celebrate the reason High Scores, High Stakes exists. And we better, because I've spent far too long on the graphic for it.
I forgot about this. But yeah, there you go. February's Game of the Month for 2026 is Crash Bandicoot. And I cannot wait, because I enjoy Crash. But it'd be quite interesting to see how it stacks up against another platformer with back-to-back platformers. Actually, it'd be quite interesting.
Back-to-back, PlayStation OGs as well. This is the PlayStation Royal Family here we're coming after.
Yeah, it is. It's the point of comparison. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's February's Game of the Month. And that brings us to the end of another episode. So that unfortunately brings me to the housekeeping, which is, if you've listened to us and you've liked us and you want to give us a star review, give us a star review on whatever platform you listen to us on. 1 star to 5, whatever you think we're worth, that's what we get. If you're watching on YouTube, then why not hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon, and get notified whenever we make a new episode. And wherever you're listening to us, leave a comment, leave a comment. Tell us what tier you would put Rift Apart on and why. Because all these things help feed the algorithm, and it tells Spotify or YouTube or wherever you're watching this that this is a good podcast and more people should be made aware of it. So if you want to support us, the easiest, best way of supporting us is hitting that share button and sending this podcast to someone who you think will like it. A friend, a family member, whoever, a stranger, why not? Send them the podcast and get more eyes and ears on us. And with all of that being said, Tomahawk, I have nothing left to say except I've been Mr. Lova, and this has been High Scores, High Stakes Game of the Month Club. Thanks for watching. We love y'all. See you next month. Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Deleting memory banks.